Imagine messing up, big time. You break the law. The consequences are severe, and you find yourself in deep trouble. The feds are at your door. Your heart races as you realize the gravity of the situation. Then a letter arrives. It's signed by the president. You're off the hook. This letter changes everything. That's the power of a presidential pardon. A single signature can alter the course of your life. It's like a get-out-of-jail-free card held by one person, the President of the United States. This power is unique and unparalleled, but this immense power comes with immense responsibility. The decision to pardon someone is not taken lightly, and lately it's been more controversial than a royal family reunion. The debates are heated and opinions are divided. The U.S. Constitution grants the President the power to pardon. This authority is deeply rooted in the nation's history. This power is rooted in the idea of giving second chances and righting potential wrongs in the justice system. It's about mercy and justice. But as with anything involving power, things can get murky. The lines between right and wrong can blur. The recent use of pardons by presidents like Donald Trump and Joe Biden has sparked fierce debates. These actions have not gone unnoticed. These debates center around questions of fairness, accountability, and whether the pardon power is being used for personal gain rather than the public good. The stakes are high. Buckle up because we're diving into the wild world of presidential pardons. It's a roller coaster of legal and moral dilemmas. Presidential pardons have a long and storied history in America, dating back to George Washington himself. Washington pardoned participants in the Whiskey Rebellion, demonstrating that even the Founding Fathers understood the need for a little bit of executive clemency now and then. Over the years, presidents from both sides of the aisle have used the pardon power for a variety of reasons. Some pardoned individuals they believed were wrongly convicted. Others used pardons to heal national wounds, like Gerald Ford's pardon of Richard Nixon after Watergate. However, the history of presidential pardons isn't without its blemishes. Some pardons have been blatantly self-serving, like Bill Clinton's pardon of Mark Rich, a fugitive financier whose ex-wife was a major Democratic donor. These historical examples highlight the ongoing tension at the heart of the pardon power, the pull between mercy and accountability, between righting wrongs and rewarding cronies. Joe Biden, the current resident of the White House, has not been immune to pardon controversy. In 2023, Biden pardoned his son Hunter for federal tax and gun charges. This pardon, while legal, ignited a firestorm of criticism, particularly from Republicans who accused Biden of using his power to protect his own family. Biden's defenders argued that Hunter, who had publicly struggled with addiction, deserved a second chance. They pointed out that the charges against him were relatively minor and that he had already taken steps to address his issues. However, the controversy surrounding Hunter's pardon underscored the deep partisan divisions that surround the issue of presidential pardons. It also raised questions about whether there should be limits on the president's ability to pardon family members, even if those pardons are technically legal. No conversation about controversial presidential pardons would be complete without mentioning Donald Trump. His use of the pardon power was unprecedented and often sparked intense debate across the nation. Trump, known for his unconventional approach to governing, used the pardon power more liberally than any president in recent memory. His decisions often seemed to reflect his personal and political interests rather than broader considerations of justice. Trump issued over 200 pardons and commutations during his presidency. This staggering number included a mix of high-profile political figures, business associates, and individuals whose cases had garnered public attention. Many of these went to individuals with personal or political connections to him, including his former campaign manager Paul Manafort, who was convicted of financial crimes and conspiracy against the United States, his longtime advisor Roger Stone, who was found guilty of lying to Congress and witness tampering, and his former national security advisor, Michael Flynn, who had pleaded guilty to lying to the FBI about his contacts with Russian officials. Trump's pardons sparked outrage from Democrats and even some Republicans, who saw these actions as a blatant abuse of power. Critics accused him of undermining the rule of law and using the pardon power to shield his allies from accountability. They argued that such actions eroded the integrity of the justice system. They argued that Trump's actions set a dangerous precedent, normalizing the use of presidential power for personal gain. This, they claimed, could have long-lasting implications for the future of American democracy. Trump defended his pardons, arguing that he was using his power to correct injustices and give second chances. He maintained that many of those he pardoned had been treated unfairly by the justice system. However, the controversy surrounding his pardons further eroded public trust in the justice system. Many saw his actions as a clear indication that there were different rules for the powerful and well-connected. This perception fueled accusations that there is one law for the powerful and another for everyone else. The debate over Trump's use of the pardon power continues to be a contentious issue, reflecting broader concerns about fairness and equality in the American legal system. Section 5. The Law of Mercy. A closer look. In this section, we delve into the intricate details of the presidential pardon power, a topic that has sparked much debate and controversy over the years. The United States Constitution gives the president broad authority to grant pardons. This power is enshrined in Article 2, Section 2, and has been a fundamental aspect of the executive branch since the founding of the nation. It states that the president shall have power to grant reprieves and pardons for offenses against the United States, except in cases of impeachment. This clause has been the subject of extensive legal interpretation and analysis. This language is intentionally broad, giving presidents significant discretion in how they use this power. Over the years, presidents have used this authority in various ways, from granting clemency to individuals to issuing blanket pardons. However, the Constitution does not define offenses against the United States, leaving it open to interpretation. This ambiguity has led to various legal challenges and differing opinions among scholars and jurists. This lack of specificity has led to debate over whether presidents can pardon themselves, a question that has never been definitively answered by the courts, whether they can pardon individuals for state crimes, which remains a contentious issue as state laws and federal laws often intersect in complex ways, and whether there are any limits on the types of federal crimes they can pardon. The scope of this power has been tested in various high-profile cases throughout American history. The broad nature of the pardon power has led to calls for reform. Critics argue that the potential for abuse is high and that clearer guidelines are necessary to prevent misuse. Some legal scholars argue that Congress should pass legislation clarifying the scope of the pardon power, ensuring that it cannot be used to shield the president or their associates from accountability, and limiting the president's ability to pardon family members or close associates. This proposal aims to prevent conflicts of interest and maintain the integrity of the office. Others have proposed constitutional amendments to address these concerns. Such amendments would require a rigorous process of ratification, but could provide a more permanent solution to the issues surrounding the pardon power. Section 6. Pardon me, is this divisive? Presidential pardons are often like a political Rorschach test. People tend to view them through the lens of their own political beliefs, seeing what they want to see. This makes pardons highly divisive, with public opinion often splitting along partisan lines. For example, Democrats were more likely to support Barack Obama's pardon of Chelsea Manning, who leaked classified information to WikiLeaks, while Republicans were more likely to support Trump's pardon of Joe Arpaio, a former sheriff convicted of criminal contempt of court. This partisan divide reflects broader disagreements about the role of presidential power, the fairness of the justice system, and the appropriate balance between mercy and accountability. It also highlights the difficulty of having a nuanced conversation about pardons in a hyper-partisan political climate. Section 7. The future of forgiveness. The debate over presidential pardons is far from over. As long as presidents have the power to pardon, there will be controversies and calls for reform. The future of the pardon power will likely depend on a number of factors, including the actions of future presidents, the political climate, and public opinion. Some legal experts believe that the pardon power is ripe for abuse and that Congress should act to limit its scope. Others argue that the pardon power is a necessary check on the justice system and that any attempts to limit it would be misguided. Ultimately, the future of presidential pardons is in the hands of the American people. If citizens are concerned about the use or potential abuse of this power, they need to make their voices heard and demand accountability from their elected officials. Section 8. In conclusion, to pardon or not to pardon. The power to pardon is a double-edged sword. It can be a tool for mercy, a way to right wrongs, and a symbol of second chances. But it can also be a weapon, used to shield allies from accountability undermine the rule of law, and erode public trust in the justice system. The recent controversies surrounding presidential pardons have highlighted the importance of this power and the need for a serious national conversation about its use. As citizens, it is our responsibility to engage in this debate, to demand transparency from our leaders, and to ensure that the pardon power is used judiciously and for the benefit of all Americans. Section 9. Sources. Insert source 1 here. Insert source 2 here. Insert source 3 here.